Now listen, again, Tank Davis, a complete fighter. He's on my pound for pound list. Complete fighter. And a dangerous fighter. But something happened in that 8th round that I can't believe the comment. It's your job to talk about it. And it's my job and your job, Ken, to talk about it here. And I would be remiss. I would be as irresponsible as they were if I didn't talk about it now on this show for the audience. That I had a fight, something broke up, some kind of fracas broke out in the audience in the 8th round. And all of a sudden, Tank Davis just stops. And when he stopped, he's just looking. Now, maybe it was a friend of his because there was strange things going on before that.
From what I've read online, Meek Mill was having a disagreement with one of the Gary Russell Jr. boys that might have been rooting against Tank, and Meek Mill and some of the other Tank supporters were then having words with the Russell brothers. That's what I heard.
All right, and, so I'm accurate.
Yeah,
one of his friends.
Accurate. Yes.
So somebody in his entourage, somebody who's a friend of his, and all of a sudden a fight starts, a fracas starts, and there was also signs of something a couple rounds earlier, which was unusual. In a corner, you don't usually hear a fighter saying, "Hey, is so-and-so here? Where's so-and-so? Where's so?" Usually you're concentrating on a jab and a right hand that might be coming at you, really. But so he was already asking questions that are normally not asked in a fight. Is so-and-so here? So-and-so, whatever. Now you get to the 8th round, and this fracas breaks out, and he stops, and he looks outside the ring. Let me tell you something. It would have been in the right of Garcia. I'll tell you one thing. His mentor, Floyd Mayweather, would have went after him and cracked him. He did it with Victor Ortiz. He did it with Victor Ortiz years ago. There's a saying in boxing, Ken, it's as old as the sport. Protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. If the referee don't step in there and stop, you protect yourself before the referee does. You protect yourself at all times. He stopped. There are no timeouts in boxing, last I checked. There are none. And there are no pit stops like there are in a race where you can go. That
Mayweather one you talk about is one of the most famous. That's also the one where who's the commentator? Larry Merchant asked him after the fight about it, and then they got into a disagreement, and he told him, if I were 50 years younger, I'd kick your ass. That was pretty funny. But Merchant
was great. I like Floyd, but Merchant was great. Merchant was iconic. He was great. And that's part of why he was great, because he said what needed to be said. He wasn't afraid. He had guts. He was smart, but he was also honest and brave enough to say things that not everyone might want to hear, or really be so, that might not be the fashionable or the easy thing to say, that the network sometimes might not
I didn't even think his line of questioning was that bad.
No.
Victor Ortiz headbutted him, smashed him real aggressive. They touched gloves, and Floyd cracked him. And Floyd said, "Protect yourself at all times." The guy just played dirty with me.
Listen, Floyd and him had a little problem probably with each other anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as personalities. But the bottom line is, Floyd was within his rights to do what he did, and so was Larry. Matter of fact, more than within his rights. Larry was doing his job. I'm saying that the commentators that night, okay, you want me to spit it out? They didn't do their job, because they should have said something about what was going on instead of being quiet about it. And Larry would have said something. Larry Merchant would have said something, like it or not, and maybe the truck doesn't even like it sometimes, because they know who the house fighter is. They kind of like that Bob Dylan song. They know which way the wind's blowing. But but Larry would have said it. I would have said it. I'm not making myself anything special, but I would have said it, because it needs to be said, because it's your effing job, your freaking job to say it. Okay. not to put your finger up in the air and see which way the air's blowing, the wind's blowing, to see whether or not it's safe to say it. No, it's something that should be said. You should say it. Anyway, Garcia, Davis turns around and looks outside the ring, and Garcia goes along with it. Garcia, I say it again, he would have been within his right to go across there and crack him. He would have been within his right, because protect yourself at all times. And the referee, he didn't do his job, because the referee, like, for that moment, lost track of everything. He got caught up in being a spectator. You can't be a spectator. You got to be the referee. You got to be an arbiter. You got to be an arbiter. You're not a ref. You're not a freaking. You're not a spectator. You didn't buy. No one sold you a ticket to the fight. You got a job to do. And right there, the referee should have, immediately grabbed these guys and said, "Hey, we got to fight. We're not here to watch a fight. We're here to perform a fight." Who would have thought you're going to go to a fight and the main event in a fight are going to become spectators to another fight? I mean, that doesn't happen too often. But that's what, and it reminded me a little, and I tweeted a little bit in a different way about the Fan Man fight years ago with Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield in their rematch, when that idiot, that schmuck, the poor guy, he got the crap beat out of him. But Ken, oh my God, what a schmuck. And he flies in on a parachute into the ring, disturbs the fight, and the fight is delayed. He gets beat up. The fight's done. Now this fight, oh my God. This fight.
He's lucky someone didn't get hurt with that big stupid fan.
Well, of course. That's why I guess they beat him up.
Beat the crap out of him.
But and especially, you don't know if it's a terrorist. You don't know what it is. It's coming from the sky. But here's the thing. This one didn't disrupt the rhythm of the fight as long, but it still disrupted the rhythm, the tempo, the flow of the fight. It did. Whether it was 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever it was. The other one was minutes. But this was... It was still disrupted the flow of the fight. And I thought that Garcia was having a good round. And then, and I couldn't believe one of the commentators said, "Oh, that hurts Tank Davis because he was having a good..." No.
I noticed that too.
I don't know what you're watching here, but from where my viewpoint was, without sunglasses or whatever these guys are wearing at ringside nowadays, from my viewpoint, Garcia was having a good round. And I'm not blaming the whole thing on him. The better fighter won. But it did change the tempo and the flow and the dynamic of the fight. And next thing you know, Tank Davis is having a better round. And Tank Davis, of course, hurts him. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen anyway. But it did arguably change things. It did possibly... it did. It became an X factor. It became something that was thrown into the mix that wasn't supposed to be in the mix. And I'll say it again. Garcia, and maybe he showed that he don't have that mentality that the great Floyd Mayweather has. Floyd would have went right after him and knocked him out like he did with Victor Ortiz, because it would have been within his rights. And he's in a ring, and he's in boxing, and he knows his business. He's in the hurt business, Ken. He's in the hurt business. He's in a dangerous business. And when you're in the ring with me, everything is fair. That's fair. And as long as the referee don't say I can't hit you, I'm going to hit you. And if you decide to start looking at your friends out in the audience fighting, guess what? Do it at your own risk. Do it at your own peril, because I'm going to freaking crack you.